Say yes. Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to the Council on Future Conflict. My name is Scott. I'm the proprietor of the Future Conflict channel. Today, we are going to be talking about a little potentially short and hopefully victorious war that is probably going to kick off against Venezuela. I'm of multiple minds of this. You know, it's kind of like depending on how you look at this, you could criticize it, you could praise it, you could be ambivalent towards it. So it is Schrodinger's war, if you ask me at this point. And we only once it kicks off or fails to kick off will we know if it was worth it. And then the other thing is Trump's weird world. And so you might think the short victorious war is part of Trump's weird world. Maybe if you open up the aperture, yeah. But what I'm specifically talking about is the stupid stuff that's going on in Washington. And so what the fuck does Washington politics have to do with future conflict? Well, the problem is that, like, the only thing I feel that's stable in America these days has been Donald Trump and some of his policies. Even those haven't been very stable. And so when it looks like he is potentially losing the plot on or losing control of the GOP, then that is probably bad things for us. And so that's where we're going to go with that. And along that journey, I will be dragging, kicking and screaming these two wonderful men. Joe, how you doing this morning?
Yes, you are dragging me kicking and screaming on here. Because I remember a day when three lads wanted to tell people about the obscure problems in the world that were going to lead to things rather than
the obscure problems in America that are going to lead.
Okay. My apologies. Anyway, it's a great day here. We're getting ready for another Montana day. It's the warmest it's been in the morning for several days. So that's
Is it above freezing?
It is. It's 43.
Oh. Nice.
But listen, I can't tell that story on there. But last night though, I was out patrolling the property lines. I saw a dude had set up his deer blind literally on our property line, looking into the property. So I'm gonna have to arrange a time for me to chat with that dude.
Uh-oh.
And you know that he can tell because it's literally on the property line. So.
Sounds like somebody's been doing that a couple years.
Well, it's one of those. It's one of those kind of things. Buddy, you can sure as hell shoot a deer that's over here or whatever. But if you step one fucking foot on this property to come and retrieve it, you're fucked.
Well, I'm gonna tell him I want to thank him for shooting deer for us as a donation to the Northwest Montana Veterans Food Pantry.
Yeah, we'll be more than happy to harvest them for you.
Yeah. The other day I saw a dude in that area, and when he saw me, he jetted the other direction. So I'm guessing he knows he's not supposed to be there. So
when when you come around the corner carrying like a fucking FAL with a thermal scope on it, I imagine he will lose his
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
feistiness.
Yeah, I think he's going to be surprised when I come up from an unexpected direction tonight. So we shall see. We shall see. Anyway, that's it. Got to do some good things. I want to remind everyone that Camp Ponderosa and the food pantry are 100% donor driven. Huh?
No, I was just going to say that. I was going to say, hey, Joe, you had a great post. Can you talk about it?
Yeah, we're 100% donor driven, and we want to do a lot more this year than what we have. And we have been, we support veterans here, not just with the classes we do and bringing people together, but we also serve as a neutral ground meeting place for the VA to meet with veterans who are a little bit afraid of the VA and don't want to go to a VA facility, or other service providers. They can come here and meet with them here, or they can show up and we'll feed them a meal or give them some work to do so they can feel like they're contributing. But everything we do here is supported 100% by veterans. So, I mean, by donors. So I'm going to drop links in the chat and all that. Some of you in the chat, you know who you are, have already donated quite a bit, both in cash, in time, and in buying things for the camp. So we're grateful for that. But hey, it's what we do here. We want to do even more. And Rowan, how did you know what my plan was? Anyway, all right. But I'm going to drop a link in the chat here.
Yeah, that I thought that was a well put together post. You're talking about how like you guys aren't like one way or the other. You're just a kind of neutral space for veterans to kind of gain their kind of equilibrium and get back on their feet.
That's so important because here in Montana there are a lot of veterans who live in camps together out in the woods, right? Like literally in tents year round, because they don't want to go in and get services from the VA because they're concerned about what will happen. So we said, well, here we are. We're the middle ground. Come meet them here. We won't let anything happen to you. And we're not subject to VA rules. So come hang out with us and meet with them. So, yeah, we like it.
Yeah, I thought that was great. I just wanted to plug it before we moved on to Watcher. So I was just so happy when you just went straight into it. So
cool. I was looking at the website when I said it. So by the way, we're going to be running that wilderness survival class. So get out here and learn how to survive in the winter.
It ain't easy. Let's just put it that way. I felt kind of peckish coming out of work this afternoon. It was like I was like, oh, it's fucking cold today. It's that kind of first cold day with not even freezing yet.
That's why I'm wearing my Mountain Warfare Training Center shirt.
Mm.
All right, Watcher, how you doing, brother?
Good. It's interesting to hear that the season turning is happening in similar timing in Korea as it is over here. But starting to get real cold. Doing well. Looking forward to the news. I don't know. I've been feeling the whole will they won't they about Venezuela for a long time, but you don't park that many assets in the middle of the Caribbean for no reason.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea what they're gonna do. I mean, I think they're gonna I think they're gonna use it. But that being said, I think nobody knows exactly what's gonna happen until it happens. And maybe there is some goodness to that,
Oh, certainly. Yeah. Interesting to see how it develops.
All right. Anything else, guys, we want to talk about before we get into it today?
Yeah. I just want to thank our wonderful chat, those of you who showed up early and are hanging out with us today. You guys are awesome. Good to see you, Wrench Turner.
Can I just say, I just saw this I'm just going to bring it up because I saw it. We are living in the dumbest timeline ever. Zelensky signs huge weapons deal with France. Ukraine will buy 100 Rafale fighter jets and several SAM-T air defense systems. Who's going to pay for that?
What? Also, who is dumb enough to well, actually, hold on. You answered the question already, Macron. But who would possibly sign a weapons deal with somebody for that amount when they're literally in the midst of an investigation about where billions of dollars that they were given for the war effort went.
Well, the interesting thing is that I think that this may be kind of like, well, we'll give you stuff, but we won't give you money because I mean, Raphael jet is harder for you to sell on the open market than javelins and $100 bills, which is probably what they've got most of. Yeah, Joe, that was the thing early on in the Ukraine war. I was like, listen, the stuff you're giving them is the stuff they could literally just pile in containers and ship anywhere in the world, and it's fucking gone.
Well, and there were a bunch of Ukrainian officials who got caught crossing borders with suitcases full of cash.
Full of cash, exactly right. If I think at one point they even found like basically a shipping container full of cash.
Well, I mean that kind of shit's been happening since the beginning of the war.
Actually,
like early
Ukraine
days.
has been happening since the dawn of time.
Yeah.
But whatever. Hey, I forgot to mention something. Reverend Hazmat, this did not go unnoticed. I cut it out of the box and kept it. So your artwork, I can't get it to focus right, is almost as good as mine, but we're going to hold on to it. Thank you.
Very cool. All right, gentlemen, let's jump into it. Yeah, so like this, I guess I'm starting off with the slowest story of the day. So maybe, this is not going to get you out of your seats and cheering. But I thought that, anytime I can kind of illustrate not only what they're doing in Europe and how bad it is, but basically say, listen, if they're doing it in Europe, they can do it here. It just takes a couple more years of education to get Americans to be just as placid and stupid as Europeans.
Before you even get started in it, I want to point out the audacity of this chick talking to anybody about democracy because not one voter elected her to be the leader of the EU.
Isn't that the most ironic thing ever, though? I mean, it's
Germany is now led by the EU is now led by the former German defense minister. Weird,
right?
Weird. Well, former German defense minister. Hold on, just a second. Is that not the Crypt Keeper?
So like at least Adolf Hitler was elected. At least somebody voted him into power. All right. Now, I'm not comparing her to Adolf Hitler, and I'm not saying he's better. I'm just saying.
I am.
Fair. All right. EU's new censorship machine. The EU loves talking about freedom, but just one look at the recent press releases launching something called the European Democracy Shield, which promises to protect everything from free people to free elections to this being Brussels' vibrant civil society. All admirable stuff, perhaps, at least on paper. In reality, though, the Democratic Shield is just the latest vision of unfreedom. So it's literally like, George Orwell kind of things. Ministry of Truth is all about lies. Ministry of Freedom is all about authoritarianism. So basically, you've got the Democracy Shield, which is essentially designed to destroy the democracy within Europe. It suppresses dissent, polices speech under the pretext of defending democracy from foreign interference and fake news. As part of the Democracy Shield, the Commission proposes the creation of a monitoring center that would identify and remove false content, disinformation from the internet. Let's see. The executive vice president for the Security and Democracy stated that the shield will enable Europe to respond faster and more effectively to information manipulation and hybrid threats. The EU's High Representative for Foreign and Security Policy made no secret about the anti-Russia nature of the initiative. We're seeing campaigns, including from Russia, specifically designed to polarize our citizens, undermine trust in our institution, and pollute politics in our country. Now, guys, is it just me, or did I not grow up in a world where I just assumed that everybody friends, enemies, neutrals alike, all had like information operations that are ongoing to influence American politics in order for us to do something that is either in their benefit or in that's detrimental to somebody else? I just always assumed that.
Mossad Monday, I'll say, even our greatest ally.
Yeah, well, they're probably the most notorious one in America, but
And the one with the special relationship. They all do it.
yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah, I mean, so Europe's acting like this whole like Russia just invented propaganda like 3 years ago when this war started. So I mean, but the thing for me, it's like I understand Europeans are always going to be a little statist, but the fact that they're defending democracy, right? Like this is something that is, we have to protect our democracy from our own people because they may be influenced by other people, and they may not be telling the truth that we agree is the truth. I mean, I'll kind of pose the question to you guys. At what point do we just declare Europe is non-aligned with our interests?
I have been saying that with every breath that I have for as long as I can remember now.
I'll quote someone. It's a museum, and it should stay that way.
Yeah.
Right.
There's literally no point whatsoever in us interacting with anybody except maybe Poland.
Yeah, there used to be a time when we would say we had shared values with the rest of Western Europe, but no longer, right? The only thing we share is Western civilization, but in most places, that's a memory. And I'll point out that it's a memory here, too, because I read an article about San Diego having recycling bin inspectors who will come around and check to make sure you're actually putting stuff in your recycling bin. And if you're not, they're going to write you a ticket. George Washington wants to know why you're not shooting those people.
Well, yeah. the irony
when
is
those exact same people will come around and collect both bins and toss them into the
and
same
toss them into the same. Right, exactly right. You saw that footage too, right, Watcher?
I mean, that's what we do everywhere. But
yes, I saw that footage, but also I lived in a place like that. Like I watched it happen.
Yeah, I mean they do it here in Korea too. I mean,
No,
they do.
I
they
almost
do
guarantee that in Korea they actually do an actual recycling program.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like yes, they do a recycling program. That's correct. But that being said, they do have you sort it, and then they just kind of willy nilly throw it in the fucking garbage truck. Well, but no. I mean, it's a recycling truck. It's like all the recycling goes into the recycling truck. I'm like, does it get separated at some point on the other end? I mean, and like, what do you got? Like a Chinese dude sitting there by hand separated?
Yeah, actually, you're not wrong here. So, Scott's entirely correct. There are places where they do that kind of sorting. However, most places that genuinely do a real serious recycling program and actually care about it are like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen this, but gosh dang it, Singapore. Have you guys ever seen Singapore's recycling system?
No.
So basically they have a different type of trash get collected on each day so that a different truck can do that collecting, and there's like all kinds of different procedures. And not only that, but you can't just leave your trash out on the gutter. You have to like be there when they show up to present it to them.
Yeah.
It's basically if you're not doing a system like that, it's unlikely that you're actually recycling, because it's the sorting and the contaminating of each other that makes it, all work. Like, anyhow.
Anyway, so the kind of the splashback for us on this is that the democracy builds upon the recent Digital Services Act. Now, Watcher, I remember you talking about this quite a bit in the recent past. The most sweeping internet regulation ever implemented in Europe. In theory, these initiatives are meant to protect democracy. In practice, they do the opposite. Their aim isn't to fight disinformation as claimed, but rather to control the narrative at a time when Europe's political elites are facing unprecedented levels of public distrust by centralizing control over the flow of information and imposing a single truth defined by Brussels. In short, the European Commission is building a continent-wide censorship machine. I 100% believe this. I think that that they are absolutely scared shitless that anybody's going to find things out. Don't believe your lying eyes. Believe us, because we're the ones you trust. As an EU diplomat recently put it in truly Orwellian fashion, freedom of speech remains for everyone. At the same time, however, citizens must be free from interference. But who decides what constitutes interference? Who determines what is true and what is fake? The same institutions and corporate media outlets have repeatedly engaged in fear-mongering and disinformation themselves. Just a few weeks ago, Ursula von der Leyen herself claimed the GPS system on her plane had been jammed by Russia, an allegation quickly debunked by analysts. Meanwhile, the BBC, often held as a paragon of journalistic integrity, was recently caught editing footage of Donald Trump's speech to make it appear more extreme. And you know what, guys, I've got this was actually on the cutting room floor, but I just want to throw this in there. We talked about it, I think, a little bit the other day, but it's the link there in the chat watcher. This goes right to that. In America, where you actually have a legal system that will support people when others lie about them, generally speaking, media leftists tiptoe around Trump amidst lawsuit fears. I mean, so it's like they are so fucking scared of him because he's been so effective with his legal challenges against the things that they've been saying, that now there's like they want to throw out all these disclaimers. I think we played footage of it the other day of them saying, kind of Jen Psaki said something and like had to pull it right back. I mean, that does my heart good. And it also shows that they have no fucking truth at all to what they're saying.
It tells you that they're perfectly okay with lying. And now they're mad that they've been caught and they have to actually tell the truth.
Well, yeah, right.
The pullback that she
Go
did
ahead.
isn't going to shield her from a lawsuit anyways, I should say. Like, by the way, you can tell someone was screaming in her ear, "No, stop, don't say that, take it back." It was too late.
Yeah.
It already got said.
It's just one of those kind of things. Psaki stated the other predators out there, in addition to Trump. He's not saying he is. Fumbling reversal came amidst a Chiron headlines of Trump White House engulfed in new Epstein bombshell. So, I mean, it's clear that it's like they've got this lie, they've got it teed up, but then all of a sudden they can't tell it because, Joe, truth is the ultimate defense when it comes to speech, right? If I'm saying the truth, then I don't have to worry about somebody suing me over it. It's the truth. Like, I know this. Joe is a good person.
A legal principle in investigations, right? The truth is an absolute defense.
Defense, exactly right.
Yeah, it's crazy. It can't be disputed. And if you tell the truth, you don't have to worry about being sued all the time.
And this is what's poking the hole in their narrative, right? They know they can't not tell the truth anymore. So now they just fucking can't talk about it. And they sound like freaking morons. I mean, they could say something along the lines of, my opinion is this, right? Like, I'm not saying he did this, but I think he's a terrible person.
I really want this to be true.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's not. Wow, if only it were true. I mean, there are ways to get around it.
But that I'm sick and tired of hearing the word bombshell, right? Yeah. New bombshell revelations. Another bombshell rocks the. Shut up. They're not bombshells. They're not revelations. There's nothing new there.
The worst part is it's never a pinup,
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. So Trump is threatening to sue the BBC for $1 billion, evidently. Let's see, the BBC. Okay. So after the president issued an ultimatum, BBC apologized, admitting an error in judgment and agreeing not to rebroadcast the episode, but rejected demands for compensation. There's no basis for a defamation claim. Oh, contraire, mon frere. Trump, however, brutally rejected the apology, vowing to proceed with a threatened $1 billion lawsuit, calling it insufficient, demanding full accountability. The scandal exemplifies how international media is also treading carefully with the BBC's partial concessions, highlighting fears of the U.S. legal representation. I mean, guys, how awesome would that be if Trump sued the BBC in federal court in the U.S. and he was fucking awarded a judgment? I mean, if they'll award a judgment against Alex Jones for what he said for over $1 billion, why not? You know, the BBC is a foreign government-owned media apparatus attacking the United States president. So,
well, it's crazy. They think that because they're not a U.S. Entity that they're not exactly subject to our laws, but they actually are, right?
If they operate in America, absolutely, and they can be sanctioned. There's all kinds of things. You know, as an owner of them, the government basically can turn to the British government and say, "Give us our fucking money," basically. And especially when it's the president that's doing it, who has the ability to then, you know, take executive action against it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was done.
It's an interesting point too that the BBC is actually government owned, so that adds a whole new element to it, right?
Right. That's exactly right. It just shows you where their loyalties lie. Anyway, let's see. Beyond these recent cases, here we go. President Trump successfully sued against major networks are fueling this media restraint. In July, he had a $16 million settlement over 60 Minutes footage. Similarly, ABC agreed to a $15 million donation to Trump's presidential library in December of 2024.
That's a great way to do it, right?
No, right? Over to resolve defamation claims. The settlement exposed the leftist media's agenda of biased editing. Beyond these, in recent cases, Trump filed a $15 billion lawsuit against the New York Times in September for alleged defamation, prompting the paper to issue clarifications in subsequent stories. In July, he sued the Wall Street Journal for $10 billion over similar claims. But he's just going to own all these fucking papers when it's all said and done. I don't know if they're worth anything anymore, but fuck. NPR and PBS also faced threats with insider reporting tiptoeing in coverage to avoid litigation. Now, if NPR were to do something like that, you could be held personally responsible, personally liable, even though you are working for the United States government. If you knowingly do something in contrary to the guidance given to you by your government, employers, then you would be personally liable because that would be gross negligence or malicious,
outside the scope of your employment.
Exactly right. So anyway, I thought this was really interesting, and like I said, I wasn't originally going to talk about that, but when that story went into there, it kind of dovetails perfectly, and that gives me a good exit for that topic. Anything else you guys want to talk about with that kind of general milieu? All right, moving on. So, gents, did you catch the fucking Mexico Tetsuo?
I can't believe you didn't see my tweet. My tweet was, "Oh my God, they just overran the Israeli embassy and threatened Ambassador Steinbaum." Oh wait, it's the presidential palace. She's the president.
Let's see. Beginning of a revolution, populist revolt shocks Mexico. Didn't shock me. I mean, this is fucking a long time coming, if you ask me. Chaos erupted in front of Mexico's National Palace in Mexico City on Saturday after anti-corruption protests turned violent following the recent cartel murder of Uruapan Mayor Carlos Manzo. Protesters are furious with leftist President Claudia Sheinbaum, while the government blames right-wing business interests for stoking. Oh yeah, so
can I point something out here? There was a show who said, "Hey, listen, you need to watch this murder of this little-known mayor in this little-known town in Michoacan," and boy, were we right.
Yeah. That's exactly right. Reuters reports that 120 people and 100 police officers were injured outside the National Palace. Not a good showing by the police. If they only if for 100 injured police, they only injured 120 protesters. Joe, I'd like to see a 4-to-1 ratio in these riot cop.
This is where the M60E6 comes into play.
Reuters reports that when a large group of anti-government protesters led by Gen Zers. I love how this is just the Gen Z protest everywhere in the world now. It's almost like Gen Z's like, fuck this shit. I'm not putting up with this crap. I see how the fucking millennials are living. I want to buy a house. Let's play the video here, Watcher. I thought it was interesting, Joe. They put that steel wall up and they just basically went right up to it and pulled it right down. So it was like, fuck your steel wall. I think these are the rookie protesters. They don't only a couple of them have like iPro and like gas masks.
They're a puto judea. So people figure out what that means.
So this is the section of the wall that was pulled down. So the riot cops had to basically do a shield wall. And then look what they do here. They put the ramp up to the right here. They put the ramp up, and now they, essentially they should be able to, to breach the line right there.
I'd give the Mexican police extra credit if they, like Vikings, shouted "shield, wall," and all put their shields up together. That would have been all right.
Let's see. So public outrage has grown over the recent assassination of the mayor, a critic of the cartel violence in a crime-ridden third world country just south of the U.S. southern border. Footage on X shows the demonstration ripping down parts of the wall, giant steel barrier, prompting police to deploy tear gas and other non-lethal weapons. So here's the other footage we got here. So you can see where the wall got pulled down. We were kind of seeing that footage from the inside of the crowd there.
Yes.
Like I said, I mean, these are not what you'd call professional protesters.
Yeah.
CWSP nails it. The M32A1 would rectify the crowd issue. 6 rounds and a nice little spread. The revolver.
Camera stay in focus for more than 3 seconds challenge.
I know,
Impossible.
right?
Well, it's Mexico.
So. Well, it's the old depth of field thing, right?
Yeah. I wonder what that giant flag is they're flying out there, because it's not the Mexican flag.
Kevin Dorr, what do you? What's he talking about here? Weaponized against AJ?
Alex Jones.
Alex Jones. Yeah. 100% it was. He never should have got that. He shouldn't have had a ruling against him, and the ruling shouldn't have been that big. Let me just say that.
I want to point something out about this video that you're seeing here. Eventually, that entire police line was gone, and they spray painted those giant wood doors you can see. So this went really bad.
Well, it was looking like a scene out of Blue Dawn, the Mexican Blue Dawn here for a minute. And if you look at, I thought that, if you go down, this is the I guess that, so yeah. Oh shit! That could that would have fucking killed that dude.
Oh yeah. Ironically, that dude's wearing a shirt that said California. Awesome.
It looks like they probably hooked that to some truck or something out there and then just towed it out. But it could have been the crowd. Watcher, I fear there's some good footage for the upcoming new version of our
I think you are
intro from this one.
absolutely correct.
Go to the next one, Joe. This is what you were just talking about. I'm not going to say what they put on. No. The picture. You just
Oh.
skipped it. I'll throw it up right here. YouTube doesn't like it. Fuck us. But this is what they put.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Huh.
Well, look, just hold on. Put the picture back up.
Okay.
Down and to the left,
Yeah.
there's a Star of David with a red X.
in-
Now, that's actually significant in Latin American gang culture, because when you put up another gang symbol and you put a red X over it, it means you're going to kill them. So,
Yeah, so it's she's working with the gangs. That being said, she's not working with all the gangs.
it would be Amanecer de Azul. I'm just throwing that out there.
Now, I have to say, I've watched this guy and what he's throwing a few times here, and for a moment, I thought we might have been in India, but
Using their soccer skills to good use, kicking
Yeah.
BG's on the scene in Mexico City. Kick ass, man.
it's probably his.
It's probably an affiliate, but still.
Yeah.
No, he's been down there all week.
Oh, kick ass.
Oh, has he? That's awesome. I bet he's got local help. So
I decline to answer that question.
Joe, I thought during the Hong Kong protest, I thought they had a lot of really unique kind of anti riot control TTPs that the protester came up with. You had the traffic cone over the grenade, and then you had the buckets with I can't remember, it was something in the bucket that would then like I don't know. I don't know if it extinguished the grenade or I can't remember exactly what they did, but they did a lot of things that made it very effective to.
Well, I guarantee you those TTPs didn't get invented on the street, right?
No,
Somebody
they didn't.
handed everybody a sheet of paper and said, "Hey, try these."
Yeah. Well, they were the first ones I saw the widespread usage of the green laser pointers against the cops. And I'll be honest with you, I think that's one of the reasons why the cops went so hard in the paint on the protesters in Hong Kong was because of that. When you start like you start permanently injuring police, they start getting unreasonable very quickly. All right. Anything else in this one? Oh, yeah. Here we go. Let's see. Was this Claudia Scheinbaum doing a speech here? It's probably in.
Oh, do you want to watch that one?
No, this is in Spain last year. So
yeah, and it's an older one too, and it's in Spanish, and there's no.
Yeah, she wants an apology from Spain for mistreating Mexico before 1810. Okay. All right. Moving on. Joe, your favorite female prime minister and mine is not fucking playing with the Chinese ambassador. Japan summons Chinese ambassador over online threats against prime minister. Japan has demanded action from Beijing over violent threats made by Chinese envoy against Japanese Prime Minister Sani Takaichi. With the Chinese regime ramps up pressure and threats against Tokyo. God damn, this fucking thing hurts. Japan's. By the way, Chad, I bit my fucking lip the other day, and so I'm in that kind of painful healing phase where, as my teeth rub against it, it fucking sucks. All right, Joe. I mean, I'll be honest with you. We've been covering this on and off for the past week. I'm kind of surprised this hasn't happened sooner or later. I mean,
Yeah, she's pretty fiery. She's not going to put up with their crap. And I'll be honest, this guy would have been long gone if I was the prime minister. And it wouldn't have been as polite as giving them a letter. It would have been like, hey, we're going to pick him up at his next public appearance, or we're going to drive him to the airport. The way the Russians used to do it, right?
Yeah, that's one thing. That's one thing, Joe, that like you got to give it to the Japanese. They're very polite. They may be stabbing you in the back, but they do it in the most polite way possible. What is this? Do you agree with Joe that tater sauce goes on
So somebody said, "What is the one food opinion that will get everyone to point swords at you?" And I said, "Tartar sauce goes on French fries."
Yeah.
So we're going to need a ruling from you. Does tartar sauce go on French fries?
It's not the worst thing in the world, but I would say no. I'm a big fan of fish and chips, and I like tartar sauce with the fish, and I eat French fries right there with it. And essentially, it's not too different from the fish, but ultimately, so like my fish and chips, it's tartar sauce for the fish, and it's the vinegar for the fries, and then of course
And
a liberal
vinegar's not
amount
that on fries either.
and then a liberal amount of ketchup for both fries and chips. Because I like to go back and forth between on the fried fish, but with the ketchup and tartar sauce. Oh,
Well
and
said, Alpha Charlie Concepts. This is America. You can put whatever you want on your French fries.
that's exactly right. And a liberal dousing of lemon juice on the fish as well.
Well, hold on. Caveat. Unless it's gravy and cheese curds, in which case you take your ass back to Canada, you filthy maple back.
Listen, no. There will be no poutine here.
No maple syrup either.
No.
Japan's foreign ministry said that on November 14th that it summoned China's ambassador to lodge strong protests regarding the highly inappropriate statements by the consul. That's very diplomatic of them, Joe. Statements by the consul general of the Chinese consulate in Osaka, the largest metropolis in the Western Japan. On November 8th, Xu shared a local media report about Takaichi's claim that Taiwan conflict involved the use of force would likely constitute a survival-threatening situation for Japan. He says, the dirty neck that sticks itself in must be cut off. Xu wrote in Japanese in a now deleted post on X, according to a screenshot shared by the U.S. ambassador to Japan. The U.S.
ambassador's like, "Hey, check this out."
I'm just saying, I'm not making a comment, but I mean, look what I saw. Or you screenshot it for posterity. That's the tweet. Let's see.
Someone's over here trying to get blocked.
There's a lot of people in the chat looking to get blocked. I'm just saying, y'all feel very bold,
Ranch on spaghetti, anchovies on pizza.
Yeah, so Rowan Court, I got like normally I got it. No hate for you, brother. Anchovies belong on pizza. Listen, if I had to choose anchovies or pineapple, it's anchovies all day.
Anchovies belong in the ocean.
That being said, well, the Italians live by the ocean, so that's why they came up with that.
Remind everybody how many places you found in Italy that would give you pineapple on pizza.
Well,
yeah, 0.
Fine,
0 places.
Listen, anchovies are the fish I like to eat. You know what I mean?
No, I don't. Anchovies have no purpose for me.
That's what I'm saying. Like there's something low down on the food chain that I'm not concerned with, but the things I like to eat sure like to eat anchovies. So leave the anchovies alone. So we can get more, tuna.
But you don't understand, Watcher. Anchovies or pineapple. What's your choice? You have to eat one pizza or the other.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm going pineapple on that one. That's not even a question for me. Like
Joe,
no. Like, and you know what's funny is I even.
All right, Joe. So anyway,
Lost Core 23. The word you're looking for is fabulous. Thank you.
Sorry, Watcher. This was too funny.
You're good. Look, it's true. That's what I'm saying, guys. Like, I like fishy stuff. I'll eat sardines. I'm fine with fish. There's something about anchovies that is. I don't like anchovies. They are gross.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, the anchovies that I do not like are the ones that are like the pickled anchovies. That are like I'm not down with that. But
everything also reminds me of her.
Says the guys that eat started.
Yes, Silly the Wise. What is important on pizza is olives. Black olives matter. Hey, listen, don't sleep on green olives either. Green olive and sausage pizza is among the best you can get and most authentic pizzas you can get.
Can I just say that I think maybe when I was saying the pickled anchovies, I think I was thinking of sardines. So thank you for.
I've never had pickled sardines. That sounds gross.
Yeah, so I've had both pineapple and this, and this is why it works because of the saltiness, right? I mean,
Can I just point out that this is exactly the reason why we don't allow nog discussions on the show in the chat. Right here.
Well, the sad thing, Joe, is that if we were to have a nog super special, like special episode, like 2 weeks before Christmas or something we'd probably get 1,000 live viewers on
There's
YouTube.
a 1-to-1 correlation between pineapple on pizza and noggers.
Well, Joe, like I'm just saying, right now, like we can barely get 60 people watching the show live on YouTube right now. But I guarantee if we put the fucking nog signal out there, we'd have 500 viewers on the show. So I'm just saying, we may want to do it before, but do it late in the season. That way we don't have to deal
hold
with the
on. I get what you're saying, but listen, here's the issue there. We'd have to invite on pro-nog guests, and you have to stop and ask yourselves, who are the pro-nog guests that are worth talking about, Scott?
I mean, Sibley maybe, I don't know. But you know what? Sibley would show up from the fucking coffee shop with, like some lady talking in his ear right next to it. And it's like, Sibley, come on, brother. You're fucking killing me. And like, I could sit there all day long and say, oh, yeah, eggnog's terrible while I drink boiled custard. And you guys would just have to, put up with it because it's not eggnog.
I'm going to end this.
Whatever it is, I'm gonna unmute you now after you made your silly comment.
I'm going to end this silly digression with one more small silly digression.
That's fucking awesome. Is that what?
She's a van eater. Watch out, boys. She'll move your stuff.
Gentlemen, it doesn't get any better than this. All right, let's move on. So yes, China done bad. Japan gonna spank that pee-pee. Moving on. All right. Joe, wanted to talk a little bit about what you're doing over there on tactical-wisdom.com this week.
All right, so we're going to be writing an article on doing your seasonal switchover, where you should check the dates on all your food, swap out your gear for winter and getting ready, but I don't have that quite done yet. So it's on the docket for today. Be watching for that. We did add some things in on the schedule for the winter. Coming up December 13th to 14th, we have Winter Survival right here at Camp Ponderosa. And then a couple weeks after that, we're going to do Winter Fieldcraft, where we take the same skills that you might have learned before, but we apply them to the winter time. Different movement techniques, different camouflage techniques, and different shelter configurations for the winter. Important stuff to know. And then after that, I think we have Combatives Weekend, where you can learn unarmed self-defense, ground fighting, stick fighting, knife fighting, and cold firearms combatives over the course of a couple of days. And once you've taken combatives one time, you can always come back to it for free, because I want you to come and get the reps in, and we sometimes develop the course a little bit. And then once February rolls around and it's really cold, we're going to do another winter survival course. I may throw in a couple 1 or 2 day classes in here also, like Baofeng Basics and the Get Home Bag and all that kind of stuff. But there'll be more added to the schedule for the winter.
Can I just say that I get way more tolerant the more bourbon that gets added to whatever Christmas drink it may be?
Let me say to Gene, no, but we can do that. But that's perfectly fine.
Hey Joe, do you do it? Do you do it in the gym?
Do what in the gym?
In the combatives, like during the winter?
Yeah, we do it in the gym. I've got some mats out there for the ground fighting, but the rest of it is just out there. Now in the summertime, I do it out here in the grass where we've got the big stage and all that stuff for demos.
So. Yeah, it's perfect. That's perfect, man. That's exactly how I do it.
Listen too, for all of you who are out there, I had some more conversations with Mountain Readiness yesterday. Be marking your calendars for that week in July. Mountain Readiness is July 24th through the 26th. But on the 18th and 19th of July, we're going to have War Lizard Tactical out here doing their defensive pistol class. You might want to get on their website now and register for it. That Friday night, the 17th, we're going to be having just a meet and greet dinner with the guys from War Lizard Tactical that anyone can come to. You don't have to be registered for their class to come to that. But then you can stay that whole week, and I'm going to have some other instructors in here the 20th through the 24th, like Project 223 Preparedness, me, maybe Adam from Vigilante Engineering, Kay from Combat Studies Group. We're going to run a bunch of classes that entire week and then wrap up the week with Mountain Readiness, which will draw in vendors from all over the country. We're getting a ton of your favorite authors who are committed to coming. And it's going to be a great, great time. So put that on your calendar right now, July 24th to the 26th at the very least, and maybe that whole week before to come out to Camp Ponderosa.
That's. I tell you, Joe. Are you gonna have any room in the inn there for me for that weekend?
You are already blocked out, I believe, but I've got a lot in there, like Chris Weatherman and Robert. But I'll find you a spot.
All right, brother. I appreciate that. All right.
I might even find your dad a spot if he wants to come.
Come on, Dad. Don't make me embarrassed in front of my friends. Gosh. No, I'm just kidding. I think it's funny. I think it's funny that you guys like him so much. It's so wholesome, you know.
Yeah, he's a good dude, man.
All right, Brush Beater Store. You guys know him. You guys love him. We love him too. That guy just keeps coming up with new stuff all the time. So I would definitely put this in your kind of your bookmarks. You know how it is, Joe. Like you'll open the web browser with the idea that maybe you're going to go to X or something like that, but you see your bookmarks or whatever at the top, and so you just kind of go through the bookmarks and you see web pages you haven't been to in a little while. If you put Brush Beater up there, I guarantee you'll find yourself coming back to it at least once a week or so. Seeing what new that they've got, because gosh, I mean, it seems like they've got something new every time I look nowadays.
Like the Jambia 3x30. That's an outstanding site.
So anyway, there's definitely a lot to see there. So let me get into the old-timey radio ad for them. All right. Tonight, we're sounding the alarm with a likely war with Venezuela. Border tensions, oil grabs, jungle warfare on the horizon. As South America store brooms, it's time to lock and load your skills. Enter our sponsor, Brush Beater Store, led by NC Scout, with training and gear built for the next hot zone. When Venezuela flashpoints ignite, Brushbeater's RTO course gives you secure comms to navigate dense jungles or contested borders, keeping your squad synced amidst the chaos. Charge ahead with the advanced RTO course, mastering signal intel, electronic warfare to jam enemy lines and dominate the spectrum. Tactical Combat Casualty Care course, or TCCC, trains you to treat wounds fast, ready for humid heat or hasty evacuations. For pinpoint strikes in the underbrush, the Kyber Optics MDO delivers close emitter red dot with shake awake and 5,000 hour battery life, crucial for low light operations or close quarters takedown. Prep for the push at Brushbeater's Yanceyville, North Carolina training facility, or shop brushbeater.store/collection/training or collection/optics. Use code CFC10 for 5% off courses, optics, medical kits, or gear. Orders over $100 shipped for free. Big thanks to Matt for supporting the Council on Future Conflict. Visit brushbeater.store, enter code CFC10, and gear up for the Venezuelan vortex. Now back to the show. Now, Joe, one of the reasons why I put the context of fighting in Venezuela with the RTO course and things like that is from everything that I've seen. Now, in full disclosure, I have not attended any of his courses, but I've seen videos from the courses. I've seen the course materials, that he shared with me. I've read his book. The stuff that you learn in the RTO course puts you ahead of the game when it comes to, say, like a military RTO. Like a military RTO actually doesn't know that much about radios. He just knows how to operate the military radio. And it's kind of like all the hotness is in A, the radio, and B, who you're talking to, right?
Yeah.
In the military. The RTO doesn't have a huge amount of skills. But coming out of the RTO course, I mean, you've been through it, Joe. You can speak better than I can. You're fucking set.
You are solid. You can develop your own SOI, and you can send digital messages via tablet over a cheap $20 Baofeng radio that is virtually unhackable, right? It's pretty solid, man. You get it. It's a really good course for only 3 days. You learn a lot of stuff. So it is a great class. And in the Scout and Recce course, we actually use a Venezuelan/Cuban radio as one of the items you have to recover. So it is real world to be talking in terms of Venezuela with that stuff. Lufite, it means radio telephone operator. The ability, the way that Matt words it is the ability to create communications where there are none, right? He actually went out and voluntarily taught this class to a community in Western North Carolina after the hurricane, just to keep them in touch with the outside world by running a relay of radios down a valley. You can do that after you've taken this class. You can build your own antennas like they show right there. And we actually built one of those jungle antennas that got 21 miles on it, which is pretty solid. So you can. I also wanted to mention something about his optics. I have the 3-18 on a bolt action rifle, and it is the best hunting scope I've ever used. The ability to go up to 18 power to count the number of antlers on something's head, and the ability to turn the red on the reticle on and off instantly, as opposed to dialing through every option, is pretty good, because I can turn it off to get a good look at an overview, but turn it on to actually aim. So his scopes are pretty fantastic. For the price of $449, you're getting like $2,000 worth of glass. It's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, it's I mean, if you're not like just loaded, I'd go Brushbeater optics almost on everything. Especially if you're looking at magnified optics. If you start looking at unmagnified, like red dots and things like that, you could get a little pickier if you want, because red dots tend to be a little cheaper than the magnified optics. But this Kyber Optics MDO is a solid choice for that size and that class of optic. I mean, if you want a bigger one, I totally understand it. Like a lot of people want a bigger window or whatever, so they go with like a EOTech or something like that. But for the size that it is,
because it forces me to be precise. And I'll tell you what, that's on my CQB length gun right there. That one.
Yeah.
Great optic.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to getting one and trying it out when I get back. So definitely.
I'll make sure you have a box of goodies when you get back.
Dude, you spoil me. All right.
Oh, listen, Dale Brown will never be on a show. Never.
Who's Dale Brown?
Detroit Urban Survival Tactics. It's not.
I could show some videos.
Should I know who that guy is?
Yeah.
You would probably know him from memes people have made about him.
Yeah, I may recognize him, but not like All right, sorry. All right. Let's jump into our main topic for the day today. Trump reveals Maduro would like to talk as military options on the table for Venezuela and more top headlines. Yeah, I bet Maduro would like to fucking talk. I mean, if this were Biden doing this, Maduro would be like, go fuck yourself. But Maduro knows that fucking Trump. First of all, Trump has not been known for starting conflicts, but he's kind of more of a finisher when it comes to conflicts, right? Like he inherited the ISIS war that we were going through in 2016, and he pretty much wrapped that conflict up. The only thing he wasn't able to deliver on was pulling the U.S. troops out of Syria, but that was his intention. But his Department of Defense basically disobeyed his orders and gave him the runaround so that they were never able to get them out. I don't know that I would want to be looking down the other end of the barrel from a gun that Donald Trump's pointing at your head. And with Maduro, you're literally target number one. And then the second chin, that's target number two. And then his pompadour is target number three. I mean, so, there's a lot to target.
As I pointed out last night during a speech, he broke out and started singing Imagine by John Lennon. That in and of itself is reason to have him executed publicly.
100%. All right.
Nobody sings that commie song and lives.
All right, let me see. What the fuck is this? I thought this was. I love how they changed the fucking links on me. This was a story when I saw it earlier. All right. Is it just okay? Here we go. Trump reveals Maduro would like to talk. Okay, so here's the original story. If you click on the first link there, I don't know. This was the original story that I saw. No, go back to the first link. If you go back up to the top, it's right underneath.
This was the first link. Hold on.
No.
Hold on. I have an idea. If I do
it's the first link inside the Fox story.
Oh.
We'll see what it says top three, and it says the first one says Trump reveals Maduro would like to talk.
Do that.
I know. I don't fucking understand it.
Okay.
All right, and watch out that this video wants to play automatically. So
yeah, I already killed it.
All right, President Donald Trump said the Venezuelan president Nicolas Maduro wants to talk with the U.S. as tensions mount between nations, but stressed that he has not planned or authorized to land to any land-based military strikes against the South American nations. Joe, that's great to say. It's only true until he decides to go exactly the other way. When Trump decides to pull the trigger, the first people to find out will be the fucking Venezuelans.
I think that's probably accurate. Yeah, I mean, didn't we have indications 2 weeks ago that Maduro had said that he was willing to do anything?
Yeah, I mean, he's been based everything since he started realizing that they were parking not just like training forces, but like legitimate percentages of the U.S. Navy off his coast. He basically has been trying to shout into the void, into the ether. Oh, hey, I'm willing to talk. Let's make a deal. All that kind of stuff.
And yet they keep sending boats.
Yes, which is interesting.
Huh.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. I just saw this super chat.
You-
G-Man Unlimited. Come on, brother. Come on.
Yeah, this is what the Tour Anaconda was invented for. So keep it up.
I love burgers and I love peanut butter, but those two things never which shall meet together.
Never the twain shall meet.
All right. Speaking with reporters before boarding Air Force One in West Palm Beach, Trump said a recent U.S. designation of a Venezuela-like cartel gives the government the authority to target Maduro's assets or infrastructure. He added that while such actions are possible, no decision has been made. It allows us to do that, Trump said, but we haven't said we're going to do that. We may be having some discussions with Maduro, and we'll see how that turns out. They would like to talk. The president said his administration is keeping Congress informed and ongoing efforts to disrupt drug trafficking through Venezuela and Mexico have been emphasized, and he does not need lawmakers' approval to act. He said communication with Congress is meant to keep them aware and not to seek authorization. Trump added that he told Secretary of State Marco Rubio and other officials to meet with lawmakers and convey that the U.S. will not allow narcotics to flow through either country. We'd like to keep Congress involved, he said. I mean, we're stopping drug dealers and drugs coming into the country. Gentlemen, what's your take on this? I mean, essentially, it's whatever's going to happen, I think, is going to happen in the near future. It's really expensive for us just to like have a bunch of Marines and Navy just hang out in this part of the Gulf.
And meanwhile, they're not available for anyone else, right?
Right.
To be used elsewhere. So, I think that Maduro's days are numbered, and it doesn't really. It says it right there. Same thing I said that, but I think that we're probably going to have to remove him kinetically because he really likes his life, and he knows that anything post presidency for him will not be like his current life. So he's going to have to be dug out of there.
Yeah, I don't know for sure that it's going to go kinetic. I think it's a 60-40 thing at this point, right, Joe? I think 60% likely it's going to go kinetic because Maduro is a fucking stupid socialist communist. But he is also self-interested, right? So he may ultimately be personally rational in this and realize that he's going to have to tap out. And that's the only way that he gets out of this thing alive. Now, he may not have to go to prison like Noriega did, but he is definitely not going to continue on as the president of Venezuela. And there will be regime change, whether by hook or by crook. I think most likely it's going to be by the tip of a missile going through his forehead. But ultimately, I think either way, that's what we're going to see in the end.
Yes, I agree.
Watcher, what's your take?
Mostly just I'm not even sure what this gets us. Look, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just I don't know that whoever comes up next isn't going to be as much of a problem, and I'm not sure that I'm not sure that this is where the majority of the fentanyl's coming from. I would suggest that probably the majority of the fentanyl coming into America comes right over the land border from the cartels in Mexico. And this really does nothing for that. I don't know. Like I said, it's a complex issue, and I guess we're attacking and doing what we can where we can, right? Because it would be a much more complex issue to try and bully Mexico like this. But
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't think Maduro is a central power within Venezuela. You take out Maduro, and probably maybe another 100 people, and you can basically take over that country. Now, there's going to be a lot of you're going to have to work through some things.
yeah,
But I think
a lot of things.
yeah, I mean, because you've got communist locals at the local level, right? So how do you you basically the thing that they're going to have in the kind of plus column for them is essentially like some certain level of anarchy, right? After the communist fall. Now, what also happens in anarchy? People settle scores. So there's going to be a lot of former commissar, like people's commissars and things like this are going to end up, dead in the streets. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to not be happy with the outcome. But I think in the end, I think you're going to see that the Trump administration replace Maduro with that lady who won the Nobel Peace Prize. And I think that Venezuela is coming back to the side of the angels, but ultimately it will be very strongly within the U.S. Kind of zone of control, if you will. I mean, and I don't know how we're going to get there. I hope it's not through shooting, but I think it will be. All right. Anything else, guys, on that one? So that's the kind of the going in premise, right? Now there are a couple, more kind of focus stories that I want to talk about here. So the first one up is, so I read about this the other day, and I was like, I thought this might make an interesting aside for the show. Recent reporting highlights a sustained U.S. military buildup across the Caribbean, coinciding with briefings to President Trump, in which senior Pentagon officials outlined potential operational scenarios against Venezuela. This activity has raised questions amongst observers and about regime change operations. Public justification and the narrative in corporate media has centered around counter-narcotics missions aimed at disrupting transnational criminal networks operating in and around Venezuela. However, the scale and posture of the U.S. forces has prompted speculation that this build-out might not just be about dismantling command and control structures of narco-terrorist networks. In his 10-post X thread, Jason Lewis of the real-time housing market data website Particle Labs explained one potential cause for the U.S. military buildup goes beyond drug smuggling, linking Venezuelan cartels and Iranian-backed groups like Hezbollah. But drug smuggling may not be the full story or the real motivation. A far more concerning pattern is emerging. Here's how the small Venezuelan island of Isla de Margarita, Iranian-backed terrorist groups, and the U.S. housing may all connect with a sophisticated people transportation network into the United States. Joe, when I started reading this, I was like, did somebody fucking watch Sicario and then decide they wanted a Venezuelan Iranian version of Sicario?
Yeah.
So if you would,
for those who were present at the scout course and the fieldcraft course, it was actually during the fieldcraft course that I discussed this island. So it's funny to hear somebody else bringing it up. There's a reason why there are Iranian troops on that island. Does anyone know what it is? Iranians are really good at small boat operations. And this island also happens to be off the Russian airbase. So there's a lot more going on this island. And it very well might be important.
And by the way, this island also is very accessible to Guyana and the offshore oil areas that they're really interested in that area. So if you want to pull this tweet up, we can read a little bit off of the tweet. And we're not going to do the whole tweet thread because it's like he says, it's 10 posts long. But he says far more. Let's see. All right, so you can see kind of where this island is, where Puerto Rico is, and where Florida is. And it's good to kind of look at this. I mean, you think exactly where this all kind of lays out, Joe, but then you're like, oh, wait a second, I thought it was more over this way. It's like I've got a pretty good idea of that whole area. But it's one of those kind of things. Every once in a while, it's good to kind of just re-blue yourself on where everything lies. So there's something in my head that tells me that Florida is basically north of Venezuela, but in fact, it's very northwest of Venezuela. with Puerto Rico being due north of Venezuela. And then
and actually, like St. Thomas is fairly close to it. Aruba is literally like you can see Venezuela from Aruba. So
yeah. Trinidad and Tobago is right there too. I think it's a little further out than Aruba. Actually, you know what? I'm sorry. You've got Curacao, Aruba, and then Trinidad and Tobago is at the other end of Venezuela, and it is literally, like I said, right off of the coast of Venezuela. And this looks like a long ways, but I mean, it's not very far to sail from each one of these. I mean, it's like these cruise ships literally like with the same day they're there at the next port.
I vote that our theme song for this whole new war zone is Caribbean Queen by Billy Ocean.
Oh, Joe, you're very good at theme songs for wars. I will give you that.
I'm just saying. By the way, you should check out my rhyme for today. It is absolutely amazing on X.
I saw it. It was excellent. I will just say that. And I like that you shared my tweet versus the actual tweet from the show. I thought that was good looking out. Now I will have, like, when I wake up in the morning, I'll have like 1,000 notifications because every time you retweet my name or retweet one of my tweets, so it's like my notification box
Welcome
blows
to
up.
my world.
I know. Yeah. I'm not very good at X. I'm a little taciturn, so I'm not really effusive. So. All right. At a House hearing on March 20th, 2013, lawmakers were briefed that Ilsa de Margarita was being used by Hezbollah to train Venezuela cartel members. This partnership isn't new. It's more than a decade old, and the island has been a strategic hub to exchange training tactics and likely more. And this is specifically Hezbollah, not just Iran, by the way. This is Hezbollah. Also conducts terror training on Margarita Island for recruits from Venezuela and other Latin American countries. Fast forward to June of this year, the U.S. Launched strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities. Dun, dun, dun. Weeks later, the White House suddenly begins distributing polished footage of U.S. forces destroying smuggling boats. The timing is notable. This video was released just 5 days ago, and it shows one of these Hegseth things. Blowing up. Well done, Secretary of War. Why does this matter? Because Iran and Venezuela are already aligned long before the strikes, and Venezuela's cartel networks well-run, established smuggling routes across the Caribbean into the United States. The U.S. has been quietly deploying more military resources to Puerto Rico as recently as last week. The alarming part is Venezuela and Iran already own U.S. properties, many thought through shell companies with direct ties to their governments. There are dense pockets of these holdings along the southern border. These properties don't appear overnight. They've been here for years. His thesis is that the U.S. officials understand the Iranian-Venezuelan partnership. They understand these smuggling routes, which historically move drugs. But the concern now is that people, not drugs, are being moved. And those people may include terrorist operatives. We're tracking the intersection of these people, these networks with the U.S. housing and continue to publish research. So I thought this was really interesting because this is not just human smuggling from what we saw like through Mexico, where you've got the, for prostitution or illegal labor or things like that. This is smuggling from the standpoint of getting terrorists and operatives into the United States, which absolutely poses a direct threat to the U.S. Let's see. So, Joe, I mean, might this whole kind of focus on Venezuela be to kind of, if you take Venezuela, you basically knock the leg out from underneath Iran's, stool in the Western Hemisphere. Now, I'm not saying that Iran doesn't have other bases of operation, but they don't operate as permissive anywhere else in the Western Hemisphere as they do in Venezuela. You know this as well as I do. Do you think this kind of takes away, like going after Venezuela is a kind of a twofer in this situation?
I don't know that. You shifted the entire question in the middle, so I don't know how to answer that. But I want to point something out here. These are all traditional areas where you would find Venezuelans in those lower border ones. And if you look up around Metro Detroit and Chicago and the New York City, not New York City, the Washington, D.C. area, traditional areas where you'll find Iranians in. That tiny little dot there in Montana, that's Bozeman. And there is a lot of things tied to the Venezuelan government there. And those ones are in Colorado. Those are all around Denver. So these are all areas where you would expect. Right on that border there in Minnesota, St. Paul, Minneapolis, all kinds of interesting stuff there.
Louisville's got one, got a dot on it.
What?
Louisville, Kentucky has a dot on it.
Oh, yeah.
The thing that's interesting is Central Kentucky has several dots, which is kind of like that's kind of out in the middle of nowhere.
No, I think those are actually in what's that town? I'd have to look at a map. It's not Louisville. It's the other one starts with an L.
Like Lexington, but no, it's further. It's further south than Lexington. Anyway, it's just.
Well, I bet you they're right around a couple of military bases. North Carolina military bases. Arkansas, there's an Air Force base there. That one in Wyoming is sitting right outside of an Air Force base. Yeah. Same with the ones in Nebraska. So they don't own the Ram factory in Minnesota. I was there. I checked it out. Knock it off.
They don't own the what? What did you say?
The Spam factory.
Oh, the Spam factory. All right. Anyway, I thought that was a very interesting kind of detail on what might be motivating the U.S. to kind of drill down deeper into this. And then, but more broadly, right? So this is not just about Venezuela. This is about the entire Western Hemisphere, this whole idea of hemispherical security, right? The U.S. under Trump, so this is the next story, chaos, the Trump doctrine for Latin America. And of course, this is, by the way, just take for a grain of salt, the author of this is related to anti-war kind of propaganda. I tend to agree with him more often than not lately, but that doesn't mean that I kind of co-sign their viewpoint of the world. Yeah. The U.S. under Trump is unapologetically an empire operating without pretense. See, this first sentence just kind of like lays out where they're going with this. International law is for losers. It is for losers because it doesn't fucking exist.
It doesn't exist. A lot of people argued with me about that last night. And one guy even said, we'll tell that to Interpol. And I'm like, Interpol doesn't enforce international law at all. That's not what they do at all. Anyway. Yes.
Somebody watches too much TV.
Yes.
A newly minted War Department deploying the most lethal killing machine in the world history. This is true. It is that. Need not hide behind the sham of promoting democracy. Recall that in 2023, Trump boasted, when I left, Venezuela was ready to collapse. We would have taken it over. We would have gotten all that oil. As CEO and capitalist bloc, CEO of the capitalist bloc, clearly they don't like capitalists. Trump's mission is not about to be restrained over respecting of sovereignty. There's only one inviolate global sovereign. All others are subalterns. Well, I mean, you said it, not me, but you're probably not totally wrong. Venezuela, with our oil under its soil, is now in the crosshairs of the empire. It does not, and it only does Venezuela possess the largest petroleum reserves, but it also has major gold, coltan, bauxite, nickel deposits. Of course, the world's hegemon would like to get its hands on all that mineral wealth. No, we just want to get our hands on the mineral wealth of the Western Hemisphere. We can't hegemon the whole world, at least not yet. But it would be simplistic to think that this is driven only by narrow economic motives. Now you start to kind of get into some of the things where I tend to agree with them. Leveraging over energy flows is central to the maintaining global influence. Washington requires control of strategic resources to preserve its position as a global hegemon. So, Joe, you will remember that the three things that I've always kind of said that warrant America's direct attention and involvement are China, world energy markets, and the Western Hemisphere. And this just happens to have, Venezuela just happens to have two of the three right there. And if you really want to look hard enough, you can find the third one there.
The third one is there too.
So. Yeah, I mean, like Panama is a great example of having all three in one location as well. So Panama, your fucking days are numbered as well, if you ask me. Oh, but I don't want to.
We're already deploying troops to the canal zone again.
Yeah, I don't. With Panama is going to go much easier though. I think I think they want to keep sovereignty, but they want to at least have lip service towards like remaining independent.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. For Venezuela, revenues derived from the resources enabled it to act with some degree of sovereign independence. Not really. Most gallingly, Venezuela nationalized its oil instead of gifting it to private entrepreneurs, and then used it to fund social programs and assist allies abroad like Cuba. Further pushing the envelope is Venezuela's strategic partnership with China, with Russia, its most consequential defense ally, and Venezuela ratified a strategic partnership agreement. Similarly, Venezuela has a strong anti-imperialist stance alliance with Iran. All three partners have come to Caracas's defense along with the regional allies such as Colombia, Brazil, and Mexico. The U.S. has subjected Venezuelan Bolivarian revolution to incessant regime change aggression for its entire quarter century. In 2015, Barack Obama codified this. But all right, I'm sorry, I got to get to the part because I skimmed this earlier and found the part I liked, and let me get back to it. It's not worth it. All right. I don't feel like rereading this fucking right now. Gentlemen, let's just close this out and talk about Latin America writ large, because that's ultimately what I wanted to bring into focus. I forgot how long this article was when I started jumping back into it. I read it during the day at work. Rather, I skimmed it and I found some interesting stuff in it. But anyway, looking beyond Venezuela, we already talked about Panama. We already talked about Mexico, right? There are definitely U.S. operations going on in Mexico currently. Now, do I think that they are part of this kind of color revolution? No, I don't think so. I did think it kind of reminded me a little bit of Victoria Nuland's handiwork, but beyond these three kind of areas of specific, you've got Brazil, Joe. I mean, that's a major power within the Western Hemisphere that is very belligerent to the United States right now. And then Brazil has got several countries around it. That's, Bolivia is still kind of in that sphere of influence. Colombia is right there. Chile, Peru have had kind of some interesting times recently. You were talking about the presidential election in Chile. Real quick, just kind of give a summary of that.
The current ruling party in Chile is the Communist Party, but there was an election over the weekend and it's going to a runoff, and the conservative candidate got 24% of the vote to the Communist Party's 27%. However, since it's going to a runoff, he's going to pick up all of the other right-wing votes. And so he might actually win. And if he did, that would be a fantastic strategic win for us. It would give us both Chile and Argentina, which gives us the entire bottom of South America as allies. And it isolates the communists in the middle. And I want to point out that in Brazil, it is a Brazilian government that is hostile to the United States, not the Brazilian people.
That's true. The Brazilian people are very
writ large are very supportive of America and would like a little more freedom. So that's important. They had an election stolen from them using the new playbook of lock your opponent up or accuse them of crimes just prior to the election so that you can win. And there was probably a little bit of cheating that went on. I know, crazy, right?
Just kind of
lesson of Rhodesia, by the way, is misplaced trust in free and fair elections. Free and fair elections vanished around 1860. So they vanished around Bleeding Kansas, actually.
Yeah, right. That's actually a really good point. Speaking of free and fair elections, when an election goes the way I like it, I tend to not worry about if it's free and fair or not, but it's generally not. If you could take that the link I just put in the private chat, this relates directly to what Joe was just telling about with Chile. With 95% of the votes counted, right-wing parties have won a supermajority in Chile. Constituency assembly tasked with rewriting the constitution. This is a complete reversal from previous election and gives the most conservative party a veto over any reform. Man, that is so important. Their ability to basically, take the country in a direction that's more aligned with freedom. Now, anytime we're talking Latin America, I'm always skeptical whether it's right wing or left wing, if they're gonna be non-statist, but we can always hope for the best. I mean, El Salvador is a great example of that. For all the great things that are happening in El Salvador, I'm glad that people are very happy with the government they've got. They don't have a free government, right? He is definitely a strong man. But sometimes a strong man is what is needed, and it's up to the people of that country to decide that. And same thing for Chile. I don't know what direction their government's going to go, but it's up for them to decide.
A country with a history of strongman.
I know, I know, right? That's what I'm saying. And then you've got some. You just mentioned you've got significant other wins that the Trump administration has had with Argentina recently, and just an absolute repudiation of the left wing parties within Argentina as well. And then you've got kind of broader themes, right, in Latin America. And one of the big themes, and we've talked about this before, but it's important for people to remember, is countering Chinese influence and infrastructure and trade in South America and Latin America more broadly. Whether it's their 5G networks or whether it's shipping ports, it's infrastructure improvement, it's access to raw materials or exclusive access to markets. I mean, the Chinese have been very pervasive across South America.
Yes.
It's almost like when we don't pay attention, Joe, the Chinese show up where we neglect our responsibilities.
It's crazy, like the tri-border region, which is becoming exclusively Iranian and Chinese. So
let's see. You've basically got terror organizations throughout the country. I mean, the continent of South America. Whether it's Iran, I hate to say it, Joe, but somehow Iran literally became pervasive throughout South America. It's not so much that there's a lot of them, but there seem to be fucking everywhere, even in countries where you wouldn't expect them. Bolsonaro era Brazil, they had Iranian kind of operations going on down there. Now, granted, they were mostly support transportation, that logistics kind of things, but they were still going on.
I'll point out that the week after Lula was sworn in, the Iranian Navy made a port call there for the first time ever.
You don't think that's something they just set up the that week? I mean,
by the way, that ship had to have been underway long before the election. So,
Here's another one. New bilateral trade pacts unveiled in November 2025 with Ecuador, Guatemala, El Salvador, Argentina emphasize reciprocal terms, reducing tariffs in exchange for commitments on migration, crime, and anti-China measures. Ambassadors to Bahama, Chile, Colombia, and Dominican Republic signaled deepening engagement with Rubio's Caribbean tour in 2025. So we've seen some big efforts on the Trump administration to reach out directly to these countries and bring them along, right? And and actually make them a real partner to the things that we're doing here. All right. That's about all I got to talk about on Latin America, Venezuela, and the like. Anything else you guys think we need to talk about along these lines today?
Negative.
No, just watch for
Nothing
development.
hurt. Yeah. Joe, any more thoughts? You just said negative, so
I just said negative.
yeah.
All right.
All right, let's move into Trump's weird world. All right, let's just start off with so let's be honest. The reason why the Democrats felt like they could use Epstein against Trump was because Trump was fucking slow rolling the Epstein files.
I'm starting
for
to
whatever
feel like
reason.
he baited it. Well, come on. It's starting to feel like now that it was bait.
No. Here's the thing. I would love for this all to be like 4D chess, the old kind of Trump meme, right?
I agree with you, and I'm usually the first one to say that that's crap, but look, when he flip-flops literally the second that Democrats try to get it to bring it out. It was like not even hours after the Democrats were making noises about like, oh, we'll release it, that'll be bad for Trump. The entire Republican Party suddenly flips as if on cue and goes, all right, yeah, let's do it, bet.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. I can't decide if it's a plan or if this is just another example of Trump's amazing ability to understand an inflection point and go with the changing momentum, right? Like, that because as a politician, that seems to be his best talent. Speeches, whatever, charisma. Forget about all that. It's his ability to know when the wind is starting to shift the other way, it's like, and you just, if you fight it, then you get knocked off path. But if you go with it, then you're golden. All right. Epstein backfire intensifies. He was live texting with House Democrats during 2019 get Trump hearing. Yeah. I mean, you literally couldn't have made this up. After Democrats dump a new trove of emails to try to show that President Trump was much better friends with the dead sex offender than he let on, we learned a few things. Trump was clearly pals with Epstein for a while. We've seen endless pictures of them hanging out. They had a serious falling out as evidence in the new emails. As evidenced by the new emails, Epstein was helping the Democrats with their effort to hurt Trump with dirt, which we now learn extended to texting Senator Stacey Pulaski during the 2019 congressional hearing with Michael Cohen. Pulaski, for those who don't know, previously served as the Virgin Islands government, helping to give Epstein tax benefits and worked with Epstein's fixer on the island before she was elected to Congress. Wow, talk about in it deep. In text, Epstein appeared to be watching the February 2019 hearing in real time, and at one point informed Plaskett, whose name is redacted from the documents, that Cohen had brought up former Trump executive Rona Graff in his testimony. At the time, Cohen was testifying before the House Oversight Committee against his former boss, alleging that Trump was racist, manipulated financial records, and directed hush money payments to cover up his extramarital affairs. Allegations Trump denied. The president said on social media that Cohen was lying before testimony began. And then I guess Epstein responds back. Cohen brought up Rona, keeper of the secrets. Epstein texted, misspelling Graff's first name. Rona, Pulaski responded, quick, I'm up next. Is that an acronym? She added RONA, like all caps, right? Suggesting she would question Cohen soon. In response, Pulaski's office said during the hearing, Congresswoman Pulaski received texts from staff, constituents, and the public at large offering advice, support, in some cases, partisan vitriol, including from Epstein, adding, as a former prosecutor, she welcomes information that can help her get to the truth and took on the GOP that was trying to bury the truth. The Congresswoman was previously made clear her long record of combating sexual assault, human trafficking, her disgust over Epstein's deviant behavior, and her support for her, her support for his victims. I mean, you can't even make that shit up, guys.
Well, these two are the only people who are convicted of trafficking minors to no one.
Right.
It's silly, and you either need to release it all or just shut up and let us all understand it's never going to come to light. This back and forth is silly. It makes the Trump administration look like they're lying, because they are, and they should just follow through with what they said they were going to do.
Let's see. The email reveals that Pulaski texted Epstein first before the meeting started that day. The messages show Pulaski texted Epstein before the hearing started at 7:55 a.m. Eastern time to tell him he'll talk about his grades. Epstein replied a minute later, "What privilege stands behind the non-release of a college transcripts?" And he must have influenced her questions. Let's see. He's opened the door to questions. Who are the henchmen at the Trump organization? Epstein texted. Yep, very aware and waiting my turn, she responded. When Pulaski questioned Cohen during the hearing, she asked about Trump associates that he had mentioned previously. Are there other people that we should be meeting with? She asked. So Alan Weisselberg, the chief financial officer for the Trump administration, Cohen began to reply. You've got to quickly give us as many names so that we can get to them. Is Miss Rona Graff is Trump's executive assistant. She was her office is directly next to his, and she's involved in a lot of what went on. So Jeffrey Epstein was live texting a Democratic lawmaker to get Trump at the hearing. All Trump has to do at this point, after apologizing to MTG and Thomas Massie, of course, is to admit that he was buddies with Epstein and didn't and say that he didn't bang underage girls, and point all the evidence Democrats just dropped that's blowing up in their faces. I mean, that's an interesting way to put it. I'll be honest with you. The whole MTG Massey thing, I think, goes way beyond just the Epstein files, but he's got a point, gentlemen.
Again, the whole thing is absolutely silly. Epstein was obviously an influence operation, either for the Israelis or the Russians. Yeah. The Russians would be my guess. Everybody else likes to say Israelis, but my bet is on the Russians. And it's at best a blackmail thing. Compromise being part of the MICE acronym, and we just have to understand that, right?
Thank you, Jay Clark. It was one of my few intentional mispronunciations. Yeah. I will say I've noticed that I'm mispronouncing regular words because I find myself like not engaging my lower lip as much when I'm talking because this fucking thing hurts so bad. All right. So that was the kind of the setup, right? And now the next story is, in surprise reversal, Trump now supports the GOP release of the Epstein files. Less than 24 hours, days after President called MTG a traitor and mocked Thomas Massie's dead wife because they were amongst the 4 Republicans pushing for a House vote on the floor to force the DOJ to release the Epstein files. Trump, likely sensing that he done goofed big time, reversed course Sunday night and now supports the release. And Watcher, you're right. There's something that stinks about this as far as he clearly was ahead of this. So I'm curious if it is 4D chess or if it's just very good timing.
And it wasn't just him. That's the part of it that makes me go, hey, hold on a minute. This all feels too coordinated.
Yeah. That's right.
I also think too, though, that not wanting to give them extra credit, but I think too that they know that it's going to be a massive revelation, and it's going to shake some people's beliefs to the core, and their trust in the American foundation and the American institution, right? And there is some risk in that.
Yeah.
And we have to give a little bit of credit for thinking about that, but is the risk of that foundation shaking greater if we don't ever release it?
Yeah, no, I think you just hit the nail right on the head, Joe. It's like both things are important, right? We need to bring these people to justice. But if you bring them to justice and it collapses the entire United States government, that's where you have to figure out how do we do one thing without doing the other thing, right?
Well,
I'm good.
here's the thing, though. You should always default with truth. We mentioned this earlier, right?
Yeah, the truth is the absolute,
The
right?
truth is an absolute defense. Hey, I wasn't involved in it, but I'll be honest, all these other people were, and now we're going to have to deal with it. Not dealing with horrible people because of the impact it will have is not the right way to do business.
I'll be honest.
Go ahead, Walter.
This is not something I've said before, but it's something I've certainly thought about a lot. If this all comes down and the Epstein thing only ends with just the people that were involved, clients of Epstein being charged, that will be a travesty. Because what has to happen is that we need to understand what was underlying Epstein, what was being covered up, what the entire if it just stops at a bunch of predators go down, that's good, but that doesn't stop the program that created this in the first place.
Yeah, that's the problem. The benefit of the Epstein ongoing honeypot blackmail operation is too good to let go of.
Exactly.
And that's what they're afraid of coming out, right? Because they can still control votes with this as long as it's kept under wraps. And let me say this, though, about if it does bring everything down. We've all been saying there needs to be a major shift and realignment and reset, and this could be the catalyst that does it. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, even though it will suck getting there.
And again, I am not a trust the planner. As you guys have, if you've known me for years, you'll know that I am generally the opposite of a trust the planner. But I do have to say, again, this feels stage managed. And I myself said, I don't understand. Like early on, I said, I don't understand why Trump hasn't released the Epstein stuff immediately. I think Joe's explanation there is as good of one as any, as for there may have been things going on behind the scenes for, all right, so this is going to collapse basically everything people think they know about the government for the last 50 years. We need to have a plan in place. We can't just do this willy-nilly.
And I'll say this too. You're right on that, Washer. I'm going to say this too, though. The minute the Trump administration decided to continue using the operation, which is what's happening, let's just be honest, they became just as bad. Just because something works doesn't mean we use it. Torture being an example, right?
I just have to say thank you, Six Art. I needed somebody to do this. I appreciate you.
All right. So yes, it's an interesting thing that's happened. So let me go through this story a little more. It says, all right. So this is his tweet, right? Or truth. He says, as I said on Friday night aboard Air Force One to the fake news media, House Republicans should vote to release the Epstein files because we have nothing to hide. It's time to move on from this Democratic hoax perpetrated by radical left lunatics. Trump posted to Truth Social. The Department of Justice has already turned over tens of thousands of pages to the public on Epstein. are looking at various Democratic operatives, Bill Clinton, Reid Hoffman, Larry Summers, and their relationship with Epstein. And the House Oversight Committee can have whatever they are legally entitled to. I don't care, except that he cared enough to excommunicate Massey and MTG for wanting to the public to know which elites were likely ensnarled in the honeypot operation.
Did you notice he included a hedge in his bet there? Whatever they are legally entitled to. That's not full release then.
That's exactly right. That's exactly
And also, can the man learn when capitalization is appropriate and when it is not? My God. The President of the United States.
Back on point. Let's see. Let's start talking about the Republican Party's record-breaking achievements and not fall into the Epstein trap, which is actually a curse on the Democrats, not us. Make America great again. So anyway, so that's his statement. Trump did the whole release them, the I don't care thing earlier this year after failing to follow through on the core campaign promise. Let's start. Yeah, this has got to be one of the worst things that he did. And it makes me wonder if he didn't know what all was in the Epstein files when he said, yeah, we need to release them all back during the campaign. Maybe this just wasn't on his radar back in the first.
That would be a classic Trumpism to pick up something that he hears people saying and then look into it and go, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah. There's a reason why Trump hasn't talked about the aliens and all that kind of stuff. Because
raging psychosis. I'm right there with you. We need Scout on here to read that in his Trump impression.
Instead of Scott, right? Thank you. I don't have a Trump impression, and
I know that Trump is upset when he wrote this. He did not end it with "Thank you for your attention to this matter." I told you he's not in his normal state of mind.
All right, let's see. Following the attacks on Green, Trump denied her claim that his criticism endangered her, and that he didn't believe her when she said people were targeting her. I don't think her life is in danger. I don't think anybody cares about her. Trump told reporters before boarding Air Force One on Sunday. Green, a U.S. House of Representative member from Georgia who was long known as a Trump loyalist, has recently taken positions at odds with the president. She said on Saturday that she had been contacted by private security firms warning her about her safety. Yeah, of course they warn her about her safety because they want her to hire them. Yeah. So, I mean, there is a little bit of self-serving when a security firm is the one that tells you to watch out. She attributed her split with the president with her support for releasing the records related to the late financier and sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Massey, meanwhile, cast doubt on DOJ's new investigation into Epstein's ties to notable Democrats, calling it a last-ditch effort to prevent the release of the Epstein files. So this might be a big smokescreen, these investigations, to open a bunch of them as a last-ditch effort to prevent the release of the Epstein files. Massey said Trump directed Attorney General Pam Bondi and the FBI to look into Epstein's relationship with the former President Bill Clinton and various other Democrats, writing on Truth Social. This is another Russia scam with all the arrows pointing towards the Democrats. Meanwhile, Massey's position has caused a rift between Trump supporters who seemingly don't want the Epstein files released and those who do want them released, with pro and anti-Zionism seeming a common denominator.
Oh, bullshit. I'm sorry. I don't
buy that either.
No. The split is people who are sick of Massey's fucking grandstanding bullshit and people who seem to be up his ass. That's the split.
Well, there are a lot of people that want the Republicans to be divided along the whole, Zionism, pro-Israel, anti-Israel kind of thing. It has very little to do with the Palestinians. It has nothing. Actually, it has nothing to do with the Palestinians. It has to do with some very committed anti-Zionists in the conservative movement who have not been getting their due for quite some time and are very happy to use Trump support with the war on Hamas as a wedge issue there. Let's see. Trump's announcement came days after the House Oversight Committee released tens of thousands of emails handed over by the Epstein estate, which made clear that Trump and Epstein were pals. Had a falling out, and then Epstein started helping Democrats get Trump, including texting in real time Let's see. Also interesting, Trump weighed in on the controversy surrounding Tucker Carlson's interview of America First host Nick Fuentes, saying, you can't tell him who to interview. If he wants to interview Nick Fuentes, I don't know much about him, but if he wants to do it, get the word out. Let him. Ultimately, people have to decide. And I tend to agree with that. So anyway, like I said, it's the weird world of Trump. Let's see, moving on.
And to be honest, if we're talking about weirdness around Trump, it's not even the weirdest thing he's done in the last 2 weeks. I'm gonna pin that one that's not even in here while we move on to this next story. I think the weirdest thing he's done just the last 2 weeks has got to be spraying cologne on the Al Qaeda fighter.
Evidently he's doing that to a lot of people, and it's just the one that everybody took a picture of.
I just can't believe he allowed that man in the White House. Or
I agree.
US.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, you're not going to give any argument for me on that one.
Although I will say it was funny. Somebody dug it up and found out that the State Department still has all their tweets about fucking wanting to off him up clear from 2016.
The only way I would accept him coming in is if he walked in and there was a whole bunch of what is it, plastic on the ground when he walked in. you know, right?
What are you looking at? I'm looking for plastic on the ground. Little Lethal Weapon 2 quote there. All right, if you know, you know. Tucker Carlson just released a deep dive into Donald Trump's attempted assassin Thomas Crooks, and both the Biden and the Trump FBI have been very quiet about it. Yeah, and evidently, based on, if you want to believe Don Jr., he said that they're not fucking telling them anything either. He's basically saying, oh, yeah, the FBI is currently basically saying, and that shouldn't surprise him because the fucking FBI are all the same guys. It's just a couple of people in the leadership that have changed out. In late September, Carlson's team received an anonymous tip from somebody who said that he had gained access to some of Crook's online accounts, which he found using tools commonly used by private investigators after obtaining Crook's phone number and Gmail address from public documents. He then traced two encrypted foreign email accounts. And let's see, he also had a Snapchat account, a Venmo, Zelle, and a PayPal account, amongst several others. Turns out the Crooks was hardly an online ghost, and yet federal investigators lied and told us there was no trace of him online. The source was able to obtain the materials from Crook's deactivated YouTube account, which includes a search history, watch history, and 737 public comments. When Carlson's team asked why the FBI hadn't shared this information with the public, the agency replied by asking if they could verify the authenticity of the shooter's account. What did Crooks say? So the comments by Crooks were posted between 2019 and 2020, when he was between 15 and 17 years old. They show two things. Carlson explains. First, the Thomas Crooks was not some secretive lone wolf who never warned anyone that he was planning on violence. Just the opposite. Years before he showed up in Butler, Crooks was leaving a detailed digital trail of violent threats, including calls for assassinations and political violence. Second, they show a man who started out as a radical Trump supporter, whose views on the president transformed, changed completely during COVID. The FBI lied about the fact and that Crooks was a right-winger. Pro-Trump. On July 19th, 2019, Crooks writes, Ilhan Omar and others are invaders and should honestly be killed and their dead bodies sent back. On July 20th, 2018, Crooks writes, if you're saying Trump is a bad president, you aren't a patriot, as Trump is literal definition of patriotism. 7 hours after that comment, Crooks writes, I hope a quick and painful death to all the deplorable immigrants and anti-Trump congresswomen who don't deserve anything this country has given them. Later that evening, he wrote, everyone of the Trump-hating Democrats deserve to have their heads chopped off and put on a stake for the world to see. What happens? That's what happens when you fuck with America. These types of comments continued for months and became increasingly violent. If any of the Democratic candidates win, they won't be there for long because unlike the Dems, We have guns and lots of them. He also quoted Mao, writing, "The only real political power comes from the barrel of a gun." Why did he change? In early 2020, the pandemic shifted into the headlines. Crook radically changed, writing of Trump's stupidity. He then began to mock the idea of the deep state, writing that the deep state is simply made up of anybody who disagrees with the right wing. Conversation over. In February 2020, Crooks called out Trump supporters as brainwashed and a cult. Later that day,
let me point something out.
Yeah, go ahead.
This goes to one of my theories. It's indicative that someone saw his violent online behavior. It was probably reported at some point by somebody, and it ticked a file somewhere. And somebody said, let's introduce someone into this young lad's life, who then immediately changed all of his political thinking.
Yeah.
When you look at these, you usually end up finding someone of the opposite sex who has jumped in here, started talking to this person online whom they've never met in real life, or that person's the only person who's ever met them in real life, and their entire life changes. The Nashville bomber was exactly this way. So, as was the would-be Kamala Harris assassin when she first became vice president. You might not know about that because they didn't tell you a whole lot about it after it happened, but this is exactly the same chain of facts. So I just find it interesting. I didn't mean to go on, but
no, you're right on the money with that. And I was going to suggest the same thing. My thought is maybe that he was one of several people that they were monitoring, and then when he made the heel turn, that's when they kind of love bombed him. Oh yeah, you're totally right. You know what I mean? And like they positively reinforced that, and then they kind of glommed onto him rather than actually, working to cause the change. These people, that age is really kind of interesting how kids will literally go from 1 month to the next with a completely different point of view. And particularly young men are very vulnerable to this. And they'll do it on their own. Go ahead,
said it 100 times, but watch Born Legacy. You don't have to watch the whole movie. Just watch the scene in the car between the doctor and Aaron after he saves her. What do you think you do there, Doc? Right? So,
he then wrote, "Going to Chinese New Year's party in America isn't putting you at risk for coronavirus because, believe it or not, viruses don't spread through race, like Tucker Carlson probably told you." That's kind of funny that this has ended up in Tucker Carlson. In May 2020, Crooks called Republican concerns over voter fraud ignorant. He also wrote a comment that sounded like a digital manifesto. Carlson reports, "The only way to fight the government is with terrorism-style attacks. Sneak a bomb into an essential building and set it off before anyone sees you. Track down any important people, politicians, military leaders, etc., and try to assassinate them. And any sort of head fight is suicide. Head fight, it must have been like head-to-head fight, is suicide. And even ambush and surprise attacks likely aren't going to end well." Let's see, the agitator. When a YouTuber user, Willie_Tepes, began seemingly encouraging Crooks, Joe, wow, it's almost like you saw this part coming. Writing, "If a gun and a badge is all that you needed, then authority obviously comes from the barrel of a gun. We have more guns than they do." Let's see. "We have nothing to lose and everything to win. And the alternative, a global police state, is unacceptable." He continues in another comment. Carlson says, "Who is Tepes?" Who asks who Tepes could be, noting that the FBI hasn't made any mention of him, but that someone has screenshotted his YouTube page, despite the fact that he had very few followers. That said, the username was used in a foreign Antifa website linked to a Nordic resistance movement, which was designated a terrorist organization by the U.S. State Department. Crook's online comments mysteriously disappear after his interaction with Tepes, and Carlson notes that Crooks was ripe for recruitment by somebody. However, his search history was still available. From early 2019 to mid-2020, Crooks searched for Trump more than 700 times online, searched for Jack Ruby, best places for mass shooting, how to make various explosive and devices for mass killings. He also searched for sniper in Dallas shooting, American Nazi Party, German national anthem, Hitler speeches with subtitles.
Let me just tell you all, this tells you that you should be using Tails or VPN or someone else's computer.
That's right. Why is the FBI keeping Crook's views a secret? Asked Carlson. Why are they ignoring congressional subpoenas to divulge this information? So here you are. Here you have a volatile, troubled, possibly mentally ill young man with a long record of espousing violence in public. Carlson continues. The FBI clearly knew he existed. And then you have a very end of his years commenting in public, espousing violence in exchange with a mysterious figure affiliated with a group that we know is being monitored by the U.S. State Department. Turns out that around the same time as Thomas Crooks was making assertions and posting overt threats of violence against public figures on YouTube, the FBI was issuing contracts to private sector tech firms to harness the power of mass data collection tools and monitor social media for people just like Thomas Crooks. It's hard to imagine that Thomas Crooks is making these posts publicly in his own name and has not been identified and looked at closely by federal law enforcement. In fact, it's impossible to imagine. I tend to agree with everything he's saying there.
Yeah.
We know that the FBI has access to these YouTube comments, yet they had a selective read of those comments to lie about what Thomas Crooks was saying. Federal investigators are looking into a YouTube account possibly connected with Crooks. This came from CNN, in which the user espoused political violence as well as anti-Semitic and anti-immigration themes.
Trying to make him look right wing, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Carlson said the FBI knew full well that it was Crooks' account. There was never any question. Biden's FBI director lied the same day as CNN reports to congressional testimony. While the New York Post reported February 2025, the FBI has obstructed efforts to solve the mystery of why Thomas Crooks, who left no manifesto, did what he did. Other notable facts. Crooks' body was cremated on orders of the FBI the same day as the House Homeland Security and Oversight Committee began their investigation. That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Well,
I mean,
the fact that after his signature,
I'm sorry. Oh. No, I was gonna say it only makes sense if something is up. You know what I mean? Like something suspicious is occurring. I'm sorry.
Well, I'll tell you, this is an indicator that something suspicious did happen. Tucker said all of this on his show, and Kash Patel immediately issued what appeared to be an AI-generated statement because it was very repetitive. It was very numbers-based, where it said that he had 27 social media accounts but was not in contact with anyone. You don't have 27 social media accounts and not be in contact with anyone. It doesn't work that way. Yeah. And the best thing the FBI could have done was ignore what Tucker had to say. But the fact that Kash Patel came out with a statement tells me that there's a problem.
I'll go a step further than that. The DOW created that whole rapid response thing early on, and so did multiple other agencies. The FBI, on the other hand, despite all of the many issues that have been happening with the FBI and the need for clear communication, hesitated and did not make a rapid response thing until 12 hours before Tucker decided he was going to do his show. You know, probably around the same time that Tucker sent emails out saying, "Hi, I'm about to run a story. Would you care to comment?"
Yeah.
Rowan, that's terrible. Oh boy.
Oh my God. All right. Let's see. Can't do a new toxicology screen because the body doesn't exist. Carlson points out. Photos from the day after the shooting show an FBI agent hosing down the site where Crooks died, which high-level sources told Carlson was very strange, as FBI usually hires out crime scene cleanup to third-party contractors. But in this case, they did it themselves. The Biden officials accessed Crooks' phone using software from an Israeli firm. Celebrite and accessed his phone, computer, his encrypted messaging apps in Belgium, New Zealand, and Germany. Yet none of the online activity the FBI discovered was referred to in any of the final congressional report. Carlson notes the FBI. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Doing the fire hose thing up there is interesting because for that, they either use the local fire department or they do hire out contractors. It's highly unusual for the FBI to actually do this.
Yeah. I thought that was weird too, but that came up early on when somebody
didn't
had
want
taken
anyone else to pick anything up while it was being cleaned up.
Yeah. Carlson also notes that FBI Director Kash Patel and Assistant Director Dan Bongino's awkward and evasive answers when asked whether we will find out more. I don't want to listen to that shit.
3 minutes
more
long too.
Yeah, more weirdness. Carlson points out that Crooks had an unbelievably lucky day of the shoot, which the FBI is stonewalling the public over. For example, within days of the shooting, the FBI had collected all the relevant surveillance footage, which includes footage from local businesses, state police, and critically, the gun range where Thomas Crook trained. Did he train alone? We don't know because the FBI refuses to release the footage. Some of Crook's comments were erased from the Internet Archive after the shooting. On the day of the attack, Crooks conducted surveillance at Butler, flying a drone over the rally site for 11 minutes, right as the Secret Service anti-drone system was mysteriously down.
Right. And also, I want to point out that saying he trained at a gun range, the vast, and I mean vast, 99.9% of ranges don't allow you to shoot at the ranges required, right? They're indoor ranges, 25 meters, maybe 50.
Well, there's something. It's funny they wouldn't mention this, but there's something pretty specific about the range that that Crooks was going to over and over again. Am I the only one aware of this?
I don't know what you're talking about.
The range that Thomas Crooks went to is a range that has been tied via cell phone data to like 12 different FBI agents visiting on a regular basis.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. Let's see. Two local cops. Let's see. Police at Butler saw Crooks with a rangefinder in a backpack, identified him as a suspicious person, but quickly lost track of him. Crooks climbed onto the only building in there that did not have video surveillance system. It was remarkably outside the Secret Service security perimeter. Two local cops saw Crooks but did not report it, while a third officer was supposed to be covering the building left early. Yeah. So anyway, if you're into that stuff, go check it out on Tucker's channel. These are two kind of very similar types of things, right? That seem like no-brainers to get completely sunshine on them, but yet you see a consistent dragging the heels from Kash Patel, and DOJ is probably wrapped up in this too. So Pam Bondi, and believe me, the truth's going to come out eventually. So it's only gonna. This is one of those. It doesn't get better with age.
Yeah.
And then if you needed one last thing for the day, we're a little. We could cover it and just talk a little bit about it. From nukes to AI-powered drones, Saudi Arabia's MBS is bringing a wish list to DC next week. So, it's like if you didn't have enough trouble, now MBS is coming to visit.
I stand by my original comment that terrorists should not be allowed in the White House.
Yeah.
Speaking of a man who knows about laying down the old drop cloth.
Yeah. This is a dude who knows a thing or two about a drop cloth.
Yeah. This is literally the guy who got rid of that fucking pesky dentist. Well, somebody not rid me of this pesky dentist. On the opposite side of the aisle, the U.S. president is willing to put up his country's crown jewels for negotiation, nuclear and AI technology. The success of the Crown Prince visit will be seen as a reflection of Donald Trump's core instinct to bypass American security establishment's concern about China and safeguarding U.S. technology. There was a time when the Middle Eastern leaders came to the White House to discuss deals that basically just kept Boeing and Lockheed Martin humming. The Shah of Iran, with his encyclopedia knowledge of weapon systems, was notorious for such visits. But the experts say that MBS's sophisticated shopping list reflects a view of a much more mature, forward-thinking kingdom. MBS is not looking for cooperation in a single area, but to strengthen U.S.-Saudi cooperation in the long term. This is a two-way flow of technology and trade. Saudi Arabia wants to be part of the multipolar world, but is pivoting to take advantage of closeness to Trump. Nukes and defense agreements. One of the areas to watch, experts say, is a Saudi push to be included under the U.S. nuclear umbrella. Days after Israel attacked Hamas's negotiators in Qatar, Saudi Arabia signed a defense pact with Pakistan, the only nuclear arm. I mean, yeah, it's like this is one of those kind of terrible secrets that nobody seems to know about. Let's see. Signed a defense pact with Pakistan, the only nuclear armed state in the Muslim world. Pakistan is estimated to possess 170 nuclear warheads. Saudi and Pakistani descriptions of the deal said to encompass all military options. Well, I mean, of course they do, because this is just solidifying something that's already been existing ever since Saudi Arabia paid for the Pakistani nukes. It's kind of like, talk about somebody doing your business for you, your bidding for you. That's exactly what Saudi Arabia was doing there. Anyway, not a fan of Islam these days, guys. So I don't care what Islamic leader it is. It's just you're not going to find me super welcoming to this kind of stuff these days. What's your take on this? And we'll wrap it up after this.
I just think that the Saudis are going to make a play for bigger things than just U.S. and Saudi relationships. They're making a play for the Ummah, the greater religious community as a whole. And everyone right now is fighting to be the caliph, including MBS and Urian. So,
yeah.
At some point, you have to realize you're in an existential war with Islam.
Well said, Watcher. No, Joe nailed it on the head. I don't want to take any steam off of that. That's exactly where it's at.
All right. Let's move to the end game here. Joe, looking towards this week, you think we're going to see the Venezuela thing pop this week, or is that still got a ways to go?
I thought we would have seen it over the weekend, so sure, at some point.
Yeah.
We just seem to be in this drawn-out end stage that everything is all happening at once, but also nothing is happening. It's kind of a weird thing. Someone pointed out over the weekend, Don, I think, that, man, we have a couple of new civil wars kicked off over the weekend. And I said, who is that guy who said World War III? Anywho, it would be a collection of civil wars. But we're seeing that happening and regional conflicts. I would say this, just keep your stuff ready and around, because any conflict that kicks off in the world that is significant is going to involve disruptions to services at home. And you need to be prepared for that.
It's like the old book says, Joe, wars and rumors of wars.
Wars and rumors of wars. Weird. Do not dismay. These things must come to pass.
Watcher?
I'm going to use my time to do something a little different. I don't have any predictions for you that are any better than what Joe's had, so I'm just going to let Joe stand. But I'm going to give you an update on a story we ran a little while ago that I thought was pretty great. Y'all remember the bear chainsaw?
Yeah.
You remember the bear that sold the chainsaw? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Husqvarna hopped in on the fun, and not only did they give the guy a new chainsaw, they gave him several chainsaws to donate to his followers, and now they have announced that for every chainsaw sold throughout the end of the year, they're going to be donating $1 to the National Park Service.
To help Smokey the bear.
Yeah, that is how you lean in to a viral meme, folks. That's good on Husqvarna.
It was the
Yeah.
funniest thing though. That beer like literally just went up like, "Hey, I need a chainsaw right there."
Yeah, I don't have any predictions. I guess there's so many balls up in the air. One of them's eventually gonna hit the ground. It's hard to know which one it'll be first. I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't see President Trump kind of going a little harder in the paint in the near future. Um, I'm discouraged by the infighting on the right, but I think it has to happen in order to kind of sort through some of the things that have been overlooked for a while. So I mean, I don't tend to engage in the infighting because it just I feel like there's nothing there for me, right? Because the issues that I care deeply about either are getting glossed over or they're getting kind of just ignored by all the people who are kind of it's like I may not like something Megyn Kelly says, but ultimately I don't give a fuck what Megyn Kelly says, right? I like listening to her from time to time when she has decent news, but when it's all this kind of back and forth stuff, it's like, who cares, right? I'll take a break for like 3 months and then I'll come back and listen to her when she's talking about sensible shit again. Like just because, a commentator says things that I don't like doesn't mean that that commentator is dead to me forever. I mean, all kinds of people that we love show poor judgment from time to time. So, like I'm just going to, sit a lot of the internal strife out. I'm going to continue to focus on what's going on in the world. If the internal strife touches the conflict stuff, that's where I'm really interested. So we'll see where that all goes. Gentlemen, that's all I got. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Watcher. Chat, you guys are awesome. Oh, Lance Corporal Veteran, I just realized. Yeah. How's this not an op leading crooks to the target? Yeah. That's kind of what we're thinking. We're thinking that, crooks had a lot of help in this. Thank you guys for being here. Chat, you guys are awesome. If you haven't done it already, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, hit the bell for notifications. Let your friends know that you're getting good stuff over here on the Council on Future Conflicts. I appreciate you guys for being here. We'll be back on Wednesday. So until then, stay safe.